Please be aware that this is all generic information of how an Orisha may interact in the life of a person and some of the experiences that someone may have as they have that Orisha ruling them and or crowned. We're all different individuals, so some things may not apply. Just take the information with a grain of salt and just simply enjoy. Everybody, how's it going? It's asieloshunyeyeo. Welcome back to another one of my videos. Thank you guys so much for watching me. And in this video, we are going to go in our continuation of the Children of Orisha series. And in this one, we're talking about the Children of Elegua. So as everybody knows, or most of you will know, Elegua is one of the most prominent Orishas in the religion, one of the most well-known Ochas in the religion, and he is the first of the Ochas. Even though I didn't make his video first, he's still the first. But the children of but Elegua is the gate opener and the opener of the ways, the Ocha of destiny, or the one who allows people to walk in their path and in their true self. Okay, so we're gonna be talking about the children of Elegua in this video, and we're gonna go over obviously different things that may not apply to everybody, as I said in the disclaimer. So we are gonna begin with the children of Elegua in Ire, as I do. Okay, so the children of Elegua in Ire, what can we say? What can I say? What can be expected? Okay, the children of Elegua are very creative in Ire. They're very, very creative people. They're really good with coming up with jokes. They're very good with crafting things and just creativity overall. They exude creativity because Elegua is a very creative god. Elegua is literally a god of creation and reproduction. So the children of Elegua are really good for those things when they're in it. It's very easy for them to be creative and come up with things and ideas and stuff, and they can just like shoot a whole bunch of things, you know, out of thin air. They're really, really very creative people. The children of Elegua in Ire are also very spontaneous people. So you never really know where they stand in things or with opinions. They're very spontaneous about what they might want to do with their day. So, you know, one day they might just wake up and want to go to the beach, and then the next day they want to go rock climbing, and the next day they want to go ice skating. They're very spontaneous, and that is really good because in Ire, it's like they have like a spunk or like a spark, I guess, a spark of life, and they're very continuously just doing things that are fun and things that they enjoy in different manners. Okay, another quality when they're in Ire is that they will have a lot of free will and there will be no boundaries. They don't like restrictions. Okay, so they like to be free, they like to go places, they like to do things, they like to be themselves, they like to be just very like free will, and whatever makes them happy is what they want to do at that point, and then tomorrow we will see what happens tomorrow. Okay, so they don't put like expectations. They don't put expectations on themselves, and they don't put expectations on other people. They like to be outside of the box. Any day, the children of Elegua are also very caring and very emotional. So they always have a big heart. They're very soft people. They're very caring to their family. They're very caring to their partners. They're very caring to their pets. They're very, very caring individuals. And they definitely will exude that a lot with people. And you will notice when they're in Ire, they're just, pardon me, I'm drinking my water here. In Ire, they will definitely be very caring and very emotional. So everything that you say to them, they will feel it in their heart. Their emotions will definitely can be easily hurt sometimes, also just because of opinions or things that people may say without thinking about it, etc. So they're very emotional and caring individuals. Any day, Also, they are always moving. They're always on the go. Children of Elegua cannot stand still. They don't like to be still. They don't like to feel like they're plateauing. They gotta be going up or they gotta be going down, but they gotta be going somewhere. Okay, they cannot go in a straight line because they get bored, and if they get bored, then they have to figure something out to spice themselves up. Okay, so they always have to be moving. They like movement. Another good quality in Ideo of the children of Elegua is the fact that they're very good at business also. Kind of like the children of Oya, who are really good at business and coming up with ideas. The children of Elegua are really good at coming up with business ideas and, for the most part, executing the business idea. Sometimes they might, um, falter a little bit because they might be able to come up with a whole bunch of really good ideas for businesses, but then they don't do anything about it. Or it may become easier for them to tell you what to do about it, but then they don't do it for themselves. So there's a little balance there, but overall, they're really good at business and coming up with things and making deals with people and just thinking outside of the, like, they will look at things and they'll notice like everybody's doing this, so maybe you should do that, and then to be different and to come up with something different. They're really good at those type of things, of thinking outside the box. So another quality of the children of Elegua, and this is a quality in Ire and in Osobo, both of them obviously up to a certain level, is that they can be sneaky. Children of Elegua tend to be sneaky. So I don't know if how many of you may know, but Elegua is oftentimes compared to the rats, or rats are sacred to Elegua, or just any type of night crawlers and those type of rodents and things like that. They're sacred to Elegua because they can hide everywhere, they can get in anywhere, etc. So children of Elegua do have that quality that they can be a little sneaky sometimes, or they like to just be sneaky, and that can be good and bad for them at certain points, but overall they will be a little sneaky around there, so you gotta take them just for who they are and how they are sometimes. So in the day, also, the children of Elegua love to say jokes, they love pranks, and they love to have fun times. So they, like I said, they're very creative. So they will come up with a joke out of thin air about anything. They will like to pull pranks on people. The more they like the person, usually the more they like to pull pranks on them just for the laughter. But that is also just simply part of Elegua's nature too, because Elegua is the problem and the solution. He is the situation and the lesson behind the situation. So he's your best friend and he's your worst enemy. So the children of Elegua like to fluctuate very much so between those characteristics of being like the good person and the bad person and the in-between person too. And so they like to make pranks, and they like to do jokes, and they like to have a good time. And if there's a situation that's going on in the family or with friends or something, usually the children of Elegua will try to lighten the load or the stress level by saying jokes and by saying pranks and just trying to bring a smile to people's faces. Even sometimes that can be inappropriate in certain situations, but sometimes they can't help it. Sometimes they get too nervous, and if they get nervous, and they'll just start like spasming out with like saying stupid jokes or something just to try and like line up the mood. And for the most part, it does tend to work in their favor, but there are certain times that it doesn't work in their favor. They just might be a little inappropriate in certain times. But for the most part, they're definitely trying to use jokes and laughter and humor as a way to make everybody around them feel better and lighten the situation up. Also, any day, they love sweets and pastries and things like that. Lots of sweet things. They tend to have a sweet tooth. For the most part, they like candy and anything sugary. They kind of like crave it. They like to just eat nice things, and they like good food overall. because children of Elegua do tend to have expensive taste, I have to say too. They tend to have expensive taste even when the wallet is small and tight, but they still like to exude a expensive lifestyle and expensive taste even when they're in it also. But they definitely love drinking sweet stuff, or just having a good time overall, like, fun times. And they love eating different types of sweets. Another quality is that the children of Eleguanire will always find a way out of trouble for themselves and others. Like I said earlier, so they're really sneaky sometimes, and that can be used in their advantage when they are in situations, in troublesome situations. Okay, so the child of Elegua will find it really easy to get themselves in trouble and then get themselves out of trouble by flipping the script on people, or by blaming someone else, or by just changing their mind altogether, etc., etc. So when they find themselves in a tight spot, they will find that tiny little hole through which to squeeze out. So they definitely always tend to find a way out of whatever situation it is that they might be going through, to whatever point. So another good thing for them is that they're really good with crafts and hobbies. Like I already said, they're very creative. So craft and hobbies are definitely things that the children of Obatala should always invest on, and or find out what they like and what brings mental peace to them the most, so that they can keep their hands busy and their mind busy. Because children of Elegua cannot have idle hands. Okay, so they always, like I said, they always got to be on the move, they're always got to be doing stuff, etc., etc. So when it comes to crafting and hobbies and things like that, they will always do really well, and it's going to be always a good meditative thing. It doesn't matter whether you're painting, or they're beading, or they're wood carving, or they're doing whatever, but any type of hobby, soap making, candle making, whatever, any type of hobby will always be beneficial for them, just to keep them zenned out, and to keep them busy, and to keep their minds going in a good direction. Okay, any day they also tend to have a really good sense of humor. Like I said earlier, they do tend to have a really good sense of humor, and for the most part, they will use their humor to their advantage. Okay, so when they're in Ire, they will definitely use the humor to make people laugh and then gain something out of them. So it's really easy for them to like convince someone that this is what they want, or this is what they need, or whatever and whatever, and they will make everything into a joke. So by humor itself, they will persuade you to do their bidding. So they can be, like I said, they're a little sneaky. So sometimes you really don't know what their personal agenda is. You're just getting the agenda that they want you to get. Okay. In Ire, they also tend to be very witchy. Children of Elegua. Elegua is a very powerful Orisha, and he has the power to block and or unblock any prayer, anything, any situation, etc. So they tend to be really good witch doctors, or just witches, and overall spiritual people. When they're in Ire, they're really good at spirit communication and things like that, and just like any type of magic and things like that, they tend to be really good at it, because they'll come up. It'll be easy for them to come up with like a spell, or using different ingredients for something, etc. So they'll be really easy for them to like just think of something very quickly that's witchy, and that's gonna look witchy, and that's gonna make everybody feel witchy, etc. So they're really good at those things. My next point here is that they're good with spirits and with astral beings, which I just said. So they do tend to have, because Elegua is a communicator between the worlds, or facilitates communication between the worlds of the living and the dead, and the worlds of the living on Orisha, etc., etc., and everywhere. It is very easy for them that when they apply themselves, they can communicate with other beings and other entities, etc., very easily, or they can make it seem a lot easier than with other people, than with other children of other people. Okay. Any day, also, they tend to be very nurturing to animals. They are very passionate, for dogs and cats and pets and bunnies and whatever. They like animals. Children of Elegua tend to like animals a lot, and just animals will also be like a distraction for them. So it's always good to have animals like pets and stuff around the children of Elegua, just so that they have something to take care of and something to be on top of, and something that they can play with, that that can get their mind off whatever worries or things that they might be focusing on that may not be for the highest good. So they normally are very much so animal lovers, and you will find a lot of children of Elegua that will do really good at volunteering and things like that, at like animal shelters and humane societies, and just to take care of your pets for pet sitting and stuff like that. So they tend to be really good with animals, and just nurturing overall. So, okay, moving on. Another good quality of the children of Elegua is that they can handle their drinking pretty okay. Okay, so they like Elegua. Elegua loves to drink. Elegua definitely likes to have a good time. The children of Elegua tend to do the same thing. They tend to be good type of drunks. Okay, so they'll be like happy drunks. They'll be like festive drunks, etc. It is only when they go into Osobo that gets a little more whatever. But for the most part, if they're any day, they'll be really good at parties, and they'll be like the life of the party, and they can have some drinks, and then they will know when to stop, so that they don't make a fool of themselves, but they will enjoy the drinking and just the good times and the vibes and the music and the dancing and all that stuff. They're really good at that stuff. Okay. Another thing is that they do tend to be very sexual. Elegua is an orisha of fertility and reproduction, and his children tend to also be very sexual. It doesn't matter whether they're gay or lesbian or heterosexuals or anything. They just like sex overall. They tend to like enjoy sex and want to have sex, and they will be very faithful to their partners, but that can also go away very quickly. But for the most part, they will like a lot of sexual activities by themselves or with their partners, etc., etc. So another thing is the children of Elegua in Ire. It's that the streets will call to them, the need to be outside and the need for fresh air. It really, that quality there is I'm gonna talk about it in Ire and in Osobo. The children of Elegua and Ire like to go outside. They feel constricted in the houses for the most part. Even when they're in Ire, it's like they get a little claustrophobic and things like that. They need fresh air, even if they're just going to the backyard, or they're going to the balcony, or they're going to whatever. They need fresh air, and they need space. They cannot have walls and a roof over them for too long, because they do crave just that openness that the world itself has, and being outside overall. Okay. So but they definitely, like, the streets will call them. So it's always going to be good for them to go out to like the parks and walk around, to go out in nature and walk around, to go to the beach, to go to the river, to go hiking, rock climbing, things like that. It's always going to like reinforce them, especially if the child of Elegua is feeling depressed. The best remedy will be for them just to go out for a walk. Okay. And when Elegua is also the one and only Ocha, that when that Orisha gets crowned, the Yawo has to be taken out every single day, versus all the other Orishas that the person is in complete seclusion. The Yawo of Elegua has to be taken out every single day out of the house to walk around the street and stuff like that, just so that they can rejuvenate themselves from being stuck in the house or from being told to stay in, etc. So it's really good. The streets and fresh air is always going to be really good for them. And just going out into nature. Whenever a child of Elegua is in Ire, they will, that going out to nature is just going to uplift them even more, so that they become more creative, and they become more happier, and they become more elevated and more spiritual when they don't have the restrictions of a of four walls and a roof, you know. So it is always good for them to go out in nature. So overall, the children of Elegua are very nice people, and they're very, like I said, very happy, very loyal, very interesting people to have around. You're always going to have a good time with the children of Elegua as long as they are in Ire. Okay, that's all I have right now for the children of Elegua in Ire. They like smoking, they definitely like drug use, they definitely like, you know, usually a lot of times I'm just coming up with this in my head or remembering this stuff in my head right now because I hadn't written it down. But usually a lot of times it'll be really easy to find children of Elegua at a young age, just trying to like hook up or date people that are older than they are, because they just want to they feel like they have the experience, and then they just really want to learn from someone who's experienced. So they do tend to be like I said, they're very sexual, so the sexuality starts to manifest at a very young age. Okay, but overall they're just great, genuine people, really nice, very creative, very amazing, very loyal, always with a new way of thinking. So whenever you are stuck on something, it is always good to ask a child of Elegua for their perspective, so that with their set of eyes and with their mind, so that you can then so that they can give you their opinion, and then you can evaluate what you were thinking about. And for the most part, they will help you to like get out of whatever funk you might be in, or whatever funk you might, you know, you things that you have not thought about, or ways that you had not seen things, or perceptions that you had not had. It's really good for them to just come up with things and then just make you look at things from a different perspective. Okay? In ire, ashe. Alright, so now we move on to the children of Elegua. In a sub. I just cannot with myself sometimes. Okay. So children of Eleguano Sobo. My goodness. Okay, when children of Eleguano Sobo, they will literally be that crazy person walking down the street while you're driving in the middle of the road. You know, taking a bath or like doing something ridiculous. That will be a child of Eleguano Sobo. You know, whenever you're driving and you see something really, really cuckoo happening on the street corner, you know, chances are that that's someone who went into a Sobo that's a child of Elegua. So they definitely, like, in Ire, they will be drawn to the streets in Osobo, but in Ire, they're drawn to the streets to have a good time and to relax and to expand and all that stuff. In Osobo, they will be called to the streets to just simply wreak havoc and cause accidents and walk in the middle of the road and stop the traffic and just act a fool and be mean and start a fight and stuff like that. So they will definitely pull themselves out of the house just to release any type of rage or release any type of negativity. And that's really good for them too, because that way they don't leave all that negativity and all that energy in their house. Okay, so it's good for them when they go into a Sobo again to go back out into the streets. But they will naturally, whenever they go into a Sobo, they will just, you know, go. When they go into a Sobo, I want to talk about this really quickly. So the children of Elegua, whether they're in Ire or Sobo, at some point in their lifetime, for the most part, they will either get kicked out of their house or they will run away. whether they're in Ide or in Osobbo. Okay, in Osobbo, if they get kicked out, it's usually because of stealing, or major disrespects, or just major fights, or they're just feeling too pressured by family and friends and things, and so they have to just run away to get away from those people that they're feeling that are oppressing them. Okay, but no matter what, they tend to either be kicked out or they tend to run away. So it is really good for them to live alone. Unless they're dating someone or whatever, it's really good for them to live alone, and not so much for children of Elegua to live with their family. But they will get kicked out or they will run away at some point. In Osobbo, they will also become extremely emotional. Okay, let me just say this also here. There's good emotional, and then there's like children of Elegua and Osobbo emotional. Okay, children of Elegua and Osobbo emotional is just the most dramatic of the most dramatic of the extra dramatics. Okay, and they will thrive in that emotionality, in the screaming and the cursing and the blaming and the finger pointing. They just go cuckoo in the head when they go into sober, and their emotions become like a roller coaster. So they become very like bipolar, like constantly changing and constantly whatever and constantly this, and now they're happy, and now they're sad, and now they're whatever, and now they don't care, and now they're back to sad, and now they're back to happy, and you just never know what the heck is going on. In Osobbo, they also become very aggressive. They tend to they will break things, they will hit people or start fights. They become very aggressive. Okay? And children of Elegua and Osobbo will also abuse drugs and alcohol. So when they are in Ide, they will enjoy the drugs and the alcohol, and they will know their limit. But when they go into Osobbo, nothing is ever enough, and that is when they're very susceptible to drug overdose because nothing is ever going to be enough. They can smoke 5 blunts and take 20 bumps of coke, and then they'll smoke meth, and then they'll drink some whatever, and it just won't be enough. Okay, so they'll abuse everything very much so. In Osobbo, like I said in Ide too, they become sneaky and untrustworthy. So whereas in Ide they're sneaky for a good thing, or they're sneaky at like hiding your presence and hiding your stuff, in Osobbo they'll be very sneaky at cheating, and they'll be very sneaky at going behind your back and talking gossip about you. They'll become very untrustworthy. You just cannot believe anything they say, and they will always do something to crush the other person. Okay. With that being said, that brings me to my next point: is that in Osobbo, the children of Elegua will abuse people emotionally, physically, and psychologically. They don't care at that point. When the child of Elegua goes into Osobbo, they just stop caring, and then they will do anything and everything to abuse the person that they don't care for. And if they know that you have a weakness on something, they will exploit it, and they will plant seeds of doubts in your mind, and they will just they become really manipulative in their minds. Okay. In Osobbo, like I said, like I said earlier, they may abuse drugs and stuff like that. They might also become like a drug dealer in Osobbo. So they might start using the drugs and selling the drug, and which will, chances are, put them in deeper Osobbo when they go down that path, because they will definitely consume what they're supposed to be selling and not make any money, and then go do something crazy out in the streets and make money to go back to like whatever they were doing. So in Osobbo, then they will also be abusive to animals, whereas in Ire they were very nice and loving. In Osobbo they'll just become abusive and not wanting to feed, or just just abusive to animals and stuff like that. In Osobbo, let me have a drinky. It's coconut water. In Osobo, it is really, really easy for them to become mentally ill, to go depressive, and or to have suicidal tendencies, thoughts and tendencies. So children of Elegua will definitely go down the rabbit hole into the very dark corners of the mind, and they will like stay there. Okay, so they become very mentally ill, and they will definitely, it will be very beneficial for them to go to a psychologist, like psychiatrist, like some medicine, etc., to get themselves back up. But you always have to look at those things, how they're talking about themselves and how they are expressing themselves to others about whatever opinion or situation, etc., because they will become very depressing and or depressed, and they will do anything in their power to make sure that other people around them are also depressed, unfortunately. In Osobo, they will suffer and or participate in sexual abuse. So it's either they will abuse sexually someone or they will get sexually abused by someone. The other part of that is with all my respect to everybody and no shaming. I'm not trying to shame nobody, but the children of Elegua and Osobo will also tend to go towards prostitution, okay, or like selling their bodies and stuff like that. Now, before someone screams at me, they can also be doing that in Ire because they are very sexual beings. But in Osobo, they'll obviously go down bad decision making paths when it comes to sex, and they will fall into personal abuse or they will abuse sexually other people. Okay? In Osobo, the best thing that you can do for them, especially if it's a family member of yours who is crowned to Elegua, the best thing that you can do for them is to leave them alone. Okay? After you offered your help and after you said whatever to them, it is best to just leave them alone, let them go out for a walk, let them go whatever, let them close themselves up in the room if that's what they feel like doing at that moment. But they usually don't tend to do that. They tend to want to go out for walks and stuff. But it's good to leave them alone because then they themselves have to start reflecting on things. And when the children of Elegua are very hard-headed, so it doesn't matter how many times you sit there and tell them that 2 plus 2 equals 4, they will not come to that realization until they're ready, okay, for that realization. So sometimes it's just better to leave them alone, to just let them be, let them scream, let them break shit, let them do whatever, and just let them be, and then eventually they'll just come back around at some point when they have rationalized things in their head. And my last point about the children of Elegua in Osobo is when they go into Osobo, they will lose faith in anything and everything, in people and religion and traditions, and they'll just lose faith and they're just not gonna care. And a lot of times when the child of Elegua goes into Osobo, if they are obviously practicing this faith, they tend to like abandon their things, and this is personal experience, but they will tend to abandon. They'll leave their orishas, they'll throw them out, they just won't care, they this, they that, they the other. Who cares, until the day comes that they like recollect themselves back up, and then they have to run back. But then when they do that, then they find themselves in extra trouble, because then by the time that they have relinquished their faith or abandoned their stuff, then in order to gain everything back, then they have to do extra things that were unnecessary to begin with. But they will naturally denounce faith or religion or things, and they'll just want to run away and not deal with anything. So it happens, it has happened, it happens, and it will happen with the children of Elegua more so than with other people. Alright everybody, so this was the video on the children of Elegua. I hope you guys have liked it. I hope you, by all means, please, if I did not say something, let me know in the comments below, because I would like to know extra qualities or something. And if you are someone who has the Elegua crown, please let me know how you feel about what I said and what extra information you might give me, maybe for like a future video and all of that. Okay, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. I appreciate it very much. I love to see those numbers go up. Please share my videos with your friends, especially the ones who have Elegua crowns, to get their opinions too. And follow me on social media, you guys. On Facebook, I am under Asiel Bias. On Instagram, it's asieloshunyeyeo. On my Snapchat is asieloshunyeyeo too, and those are my really 3 primary social media things. And my email is sweetoñitasigns@gmail.com. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I will see you guys in my next video, and thank you all so much for watching, and many many blessings to each and every single one of you, from Ochun, from Elegua, from myself, and from everything that is holy and sacred. Thank you guys for watching me once again, and I will see you in the next video. Ashe, 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 do.